Oh, hello. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here today. I'm so excited to continue to talk about wisdom and continue our series now and later. I pray that you have had a great week, and it's Holy Week. This is a week before Easter. And while it's going to look a little different for us, I believe that God is going to bless us this week as we seek to grow closer to Him. Don't forget that Sunday night, we have our HSM Live Easter edition. And don't forget to be thinking about your eggs. Everyone's going to decorate an egg and create a character, and we're going to have an egg fashion show and vote to decide who has the best egg. Remember, the winner of that competition gets a $25 gift card to the restaurant or coffee shop of their choice. But tonight, we're talking about wisdom, so let's jump into it. So, confession time. I am really bad about setting goals that I never actually achieve. Like the time that I decided to be vegetarian, even though I love meat. Or the time that I said I was going to run a mile every day. Or the time that I said I was going to learn woodworking. Or the time that I said I was going to do kickboxing. Some people are more prone to set goals than others. In fact, some of us are great at it. But a lot of us are really good at talking about our goals, but not at actually completing them. And why is that? Why is it so easy for us to set goals? It's so easy for us to figure out what goals we want to set. We know what we want to do. But why is it so easy for us to set goals, but never actually finish them? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today by looking at the book of Proverbs. So, why is it so difficult to move from talking about something to actually doing something? I think one of the reasons is that sometimes the goals we set feel so impossibly out of reach. Like when I said that I was going to run a mile every day. Well, back then I was so out of shape. Well, not really just back then, but back then I was so out of shape that I could barely walk a mile, much less run one. And so after trying and failing on the first day, it just felt impossible. And so I gave up. And sometimes the work that it takes to achieve our goals just isn't very much fun. Tiffany and I, we've set a goal that we want to pay off our student loan debt, which is a great goal and it's really important for our lives. But the reality is that in order to complete that goal, we now have to save and maybe not do as many fun things as we like to do. Maybe not spend money on things that we would love to have, and we have to be careful. And to be honest, that's just not a lot of fun. And a lot of times we give up on our goals because they're just not enjoyable. You know, when it comes to grinding to reach our goals, that sounds great, but the reality is that work, that process is actually exhausting. There are probably some goals in your life that you aren't reaching simply because you don't want to fail. There may be some goals that you're not reaching because you're not sure where to even start. Well, thankfully, God's Word gives us some wisdom on how to achieve our goals. So let's look at that now. So over the past couple of weeks, we've been taking a look at different verses from the book of Proverbs. And we've talked about how Proverbs offers some really great wisdom for how we live our everyday lives. And this verse that we're going to look at today speaks specifically to the tension that we feel when it comes to setting and achieving goals. Take a look at that verse right here. Proverbs 14:23 says, "All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads to poverty." All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. You see, here we see two different actions that each produce different results. You see, talk is contrasted with work, and profit is contrasted with poverty. So basically, work equals success, but talk equals no. And that's what we have to understand in our lives, is that God makes it clear. Setting goals is great. Talking about our goals is great, but there has to be more than talk. What does it look like for us to be more than just people who talk about what we want to do, but actually put in the work to do it? Okay, go ahead. So think of this verse in terms of growth and change. For example, we set goals because we want to grow as a human, because we want to break habits or achieve something new or better. So let's view profit as reaching our goal and poverty as not reaching it. You know, there's nothing wrong with talking about our goals, but if that's just it, if it's just talk, then it produces no growth or change. You know, in our student ministry, we talk a lot about wanting to be the people that God has called us to be. You know, I sit down with you guys as students all the time and I hear you say, you know, I just want to do this. I want to be closer to God. I want to improve my prayer life. I want to, you know, be better about being engaged in worship. I want to be more like the person I'm supposed to be when I'm at school or when I'm around my friends. I want to be better about sharing Jesus. We're great at talking about our goals, but we're not so great at finishing them. We're not so great at putting the work in. And one of the things that we have to recognize is that our goals aren't just going to magically happen. They don't just suddenly complete it. We can't just wish something and make it true. So if we want to achieve our goals, there's hard work that has to take place. We have to put in that hard work. When I planned to run a mile every day, I could have achieved that goal. If I had decided to work at it and put in the effort every morning and just gradually run a little bit further, over time, I could have easily achieved that, but it would have taken some hard work. But because I don't want to do the work, because the work isn't that fun, because it's more fun to talk about the idea of running a mile every day rather than actually doing it, I never achieved it. So Proverbs teaches us that if we want the benefits of hard work, the hard work has to actually take place. And here's the deal. Hard work requires ownership. Remember, Proverbs 14 says that all hard work leads to profit. And so that means that even if we don't reach our goals, we still can benefit from that hard work. That hard work, that experience of trying to achieve that goal helps us grow. So here's the bottom line for tonight. The end that you want tomorrow is connected to what you do today. The end that you want tomorrow is connected to what you do today. Let's talk a little bit more about how we can actually apply that to our lives. You know, sometimes we look at people who've achieved their goals and we assume that it was natural or simple or easy for them to do that. But it's not our job to worry about other people. As hard as that can be, it's our job to worry about ourselves. So here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to start thinking like an owner. You know, a lot of times we don't take ownership of our lives. We just want things to come to us and we don't want to put the work in. But as an owner, I take care of my own life because I want my life to be as good as God has created me to be. I want to live the joy-filled life that God has called me to. I want to live the abundant life that God has called me to. And so what I do is I now have to take ownership of my life. I now have to take ownership of my actions. So if there's something that I want to achieve, if I have a goal, then I have to be willing to put the work in. Because as an owner, I now am responsible for taking care of that work. So I just want to encourage you this week to pick one goal. Pick one goal, one area of your life where you haven't exactly been acting like an owner. And this week, I want you to sit down tonight or tomorrow. This week, take a look at that goal and come up with one thing that you can do each day this week to help move you towards that goal, to help you achieve that goal. And do you know what that goal is right now? Does something come to mind? If so, put it in the comments below. Let us know so that we can hold each other accountable and so that we can encourage each other as we seek to achieve our goals together. Remember, your actions can lead you to the place you want to be and the person you want to become. So decide today to put aside that talk and turn that talk into action. Right now is the time to get started because the end that you want tomorrow is connected to what you do today. Have a great week.